Megami, wake up! She stole my entire flow! Wait, what? Your whole flow? Bar for bar! Word for word?
Word for word.
Thank you to our final patrons, Strawbones, Black Wolf, and Red Wolf 4765. Now, before we hop into this breakdown / review of Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 199, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support for as little as $1 a month to get exclusive videos, early content, and more. So the exclusive videos, including the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into chapter 199. What's up, guys? Out of the pencil here, and I lied because we are doing the poll from last week. So last week I ended up asking y'all, with the advent and immediate destruction of Naoya and his domain, I wanted to know, would you ever like to see Naoya come back again, possibly as a passive character, or even possibly Maki's worm like Toji had a worm, or would you like him just gone? Like, you're sick and tired of him, we've had enough of him, he was a booty character anyway, no one wants him back. And with an overwhelming 72% of the vote, it was stay out. He has served his purpose at this point. Be gone. And I agree. You know, as cool as it would be, and I do agree with y'all, 28% of y'all, it would be cool to see him stay in and be hilarious, to have Maki just stuff him in his palace and just like straight up like keep shoving weapons into him so he could be a portable carrier. It wouldn't make sense for the character, and he'd probably just eat all the weapons and like go run off somewhere. So it does make sense that he needs to stay out. I definitely get why Gege brought him back for Maki. Like, it was supposed to be the last remaining thing, the last bind to the Zenin clan that she needed to free herself of. In a similar case that Naoya was the last bind to the Zenin clan in the middle of her slaughter of it. So it makes sense why he was brought back, but I also agree, you know, let's just leave him out the narrative. He's not that important anymore. The whole Zenin clan isn't that important anymore, mainly because they're all, you know, not around. So I think it works out a lot. However, thank you guys for participating in the poll, and I hope you get in on tomorrow's poll dropping at 12 p.m. to make sure your input is included for next week's review. Now, let's hop into chapter 199. What's up, guys? I'm the pencil here. Here we are to chapter 199 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and we have a name! We have a chapter name. After 30, or how many chapters it's been, after like 30 chapters of colony this, colony that, colony this, colony that, we finally have a name. And ironically enough, it's called Resentful Names. So I think KK heard me. I think he was like tired of me being resentful of all these non-names. So we have a name. Hallelujah. However, I would just call this chapter Stolen Flow. But enough of that. Let's hop right to the chapter itself. So we open up and we do get to see that Kamo, bro, still is laying back on the ground, right? Because admittedly, after Daido, Miyo, and Maki went off to go deal with Naoya, bro was tired. He was circulating his blood out of his body. He was using red flowing scale. Like, bro was doing way too much for someone of his caliber. So I could definitely see why he was just, oh, the sweet embrace. Oh, mother, is that you? Well, I've heard some people on the internet call me a muscle mommy, but, no, I'm Maki, not your mother. Ah! You won. And we get to see that Maki's like, I mean, I guess you could say that. Really, it's not, I didn't do it on my own, it was because of those guys. And once again, Miyo and Daido, unfortunately, we do not see them in this chapter at all. They just don't appear. And I'm assuming it's just because they died. And like, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe Maki was able to get them some help or heal them, or like they could wrap up their wounds or something, but they seemed in very critical condition and we have no healers nearby. So it was cool to have them in the narrative. It was cool to have them help Maki evolve. That was pretty much the entire point of their characters, but I do hope they live. I do hope they stay around a bit more because I feel bad for them. They came in, helped out, died. Like almost everyone else, the only people who also came in, but they didn't help, like, actually, Hazanoki actually ended up helping, shockingly enough. But when you think about it, every single character that came in, even enemies usually, ended up just being let go and let live. Like Higuruma allowed to live. Reggie, yeah, he wasn't allowed to live. But like Hazanoki was cool. That one dude, he also did not get to live. Hattori Hanzo, I believe his name was. He died. But regardless, Megami's, he's a different breed. And then even all of, well, Kurushi died, but no one likes Kurushi. Kurushi's an ugly cockroach man. Essentially, the point is, everyone that was either remotely helpful or possibly useful got spared, but seemingly not Daido and Miyo. But then again, they may have just eaten up precious panel time, and honestly, with everything else that's in this chapter, I can definitely get why Gege just wrapped up Noritoshi, specifically, considering he's one of our main side characters. And we see that Magi even brings up, like, yeah, they are seriously wounded. And notably, she does say, I'll carry them later. But, like, carry them to where? Like, unless you can get to Yuta, unless you can force, like, no, Daido has curse energy, and so does Miyo, because they're able to be targeted. So, like, unless you use points, how are you actually going to get them to move out of the domain to where they can get healing? Because, like, Yuta isn't here, and I don't think Shoko's anywhere nearby. So, those guys may just bleed out. However, we do get to see that Maki takes a look at Noritoshi and is like, you aren't acting like yourself. Something's up here. And I'm not just talking about the haircut. And Noritoshi's like, darn, I thought the haircut would distract you enough. But you should understand the situation, right? Because you're also from the big three families. I couldn't make it as the head of the Kamo clan, so now I'm worthless. And it's very interesting to see how these two have taken different routes. Like, they are very similar characters. It's just that Maki, she was the outcast. Like, Kamo just wasn't liked. But Maki, yeah, she took care of the problem. She took care of the problem. But regardless, it's interesting to see how Kamo, once again, he in fact, it's more interesting than what Maki, not more interesting, but it's more deep for Kamo than it was for Maki. Maki wanted to prove her clan wrong. She never had any standing, any future within her clan. Meanwhile, Kamo, while being an outcast, had a future. He had paths that he could go down. He was going to be the next head, but Kinjaku was like, no, you suck. And bada bing, bada boom, it couldn't end up happening. So it's very interesting to see how Kamo's dealing with the fact that his life, a life that he genuinely grew up in, a life that he was genuinely hoping for, a life that he had been preparing his entire life for, is now kind of gone. Sure, if they beat Kenjaku and Kenjaku ends up dying and it's one of the three great families, like if the Gojo clan and the Kamo clan still say as two of the great families, Kamo could hypothetically become clan head again, but I think that would kind of defeat the narrative purpose at this point. I feel like the whole Jujutsu society at the end of the series is going to get a massive upheaval, so I think Kamo may never even get to achieve what was once his dream, which is, I mean, it's a good thing because who knows what would have happened to him. He may have had to force on and keep going with this unhealthy path, but at the same time, who knows, maybe he could have reformed it. As the clan head, you obviously have a lot of power, but still, we do get to see that Maki is like, now hold on a second there, buddy. Don't you go comparing yourself to me. You are a side character. I'm a side main character. Now you watch your mouth. However, we do get to see that Kamo essentially is like, yeah, even my name is like awful. It's the same as that man's. And Maki's like, well, did she ever like tell you that? Well, mine did. And then I gave her the cut. So, yeah. But who knows? I was probably wrong, considering we see that Maki now through Naoya knows that it was her mother that ended up getting rid of Naoya, not her. The reason Naoya could come back as a curse is admittedly because her mother did not kill him with Jujutsu, but also for the fact that Maki even failed to get rid of him. So Maki is now in the state where she followed her instinct. She did exactly what Mai wanted. She destroyed the Zenin clan. But now she's like, who knows? Maybe I really should have spoken to her more. Maybe there was more to the story. And we even saw at the end of that little chapter where we see Naoya's end and Maki's mother's end, she was happy to have Mai and Maki as her kids. But Maki can never know that now because she took the initiative and removed her. But Kamo maybe still has hope. She even says, what are mothers to us anyway? I ended it without getting a good answer. You shouldn't make the same mistake. It's nice. I do think there are many negative spins that can come with ending the Zenin clan if things stay somewhat similar to how they were earlier in the series at the end of the series. But even little personal ramifications like this, little things that show that maybe destroying everything wasn't right, consequences like this, I think it's good, especially on a character level, right? Once again, I said it once and I'll say it again, my favorite thing in narratives are characters. I love when characters have to react to the plot, have to react to their own actions, have to face consequences, and this is a consequence that is personal to Maki, the last of her people, biologically, outside of Megami. And that's really, really hard for her. That's her story. That's her tale that she made for herself. And there's nothing she can do about that. I like it. What I also like is the fact that the like button is free. And, fun fact, on top of that, the subscribe button is free. So I greatly appreciate if you hit both of those if you're new. And if you want to help out the channel, help the video out, and help me out a lot. Thank you. However, we do get to see that as Maki lifts Kamo up, Kamo's like, you know what? Yeah. And then we cut over. We move far, far away. We have no idea where this is. It's just in some little apartment. And we hear someone ask, huh? You named him because of that? Yes. It's a forbidden name for that family. I was mad, so I just did it. Poor Noritoshi. It's alright. Although I didn't know if it was best at the time. But I honestly gave him that name so that he could ditch them and come home to me. And we get to see that this is, in fact, Noritoshi's mama. And it's so interesting because we see the other kid ask, what you talking about? And the mother of Kamo is like, oh, your big brother. Meaning she is one of the few mothers in JJK, or one of the few parental figures in JJK that actually got somewhat of a happy ending. Think of every other parental figure we have. Unlike, I think the only ones that may have been spared is like Nobara. But I think, didn't she live with her grandmother? I know her grandmother taught her the straw doll technique. But like, Itadori's parents, one's dead, and the other's the main villain. Megami's parents, one was a major villain and is now dead, and the other one's dead. And now look at Maki. Her dad, she slaughtered both of her parents. Parents don't have that good of a track record in JJK, but now we have Maki's mother, not Maki, Kamo's mother, living a happy life with another son of her own. And we see the kid ask his mother, wait, I'm worried. Is he nice? And the mother smiles. He says, yes, he's nice. After all, he's my son. And man, you know, me personally, I don't get wrapped up in the emotions of new characters that deep. But, you know, there's always a bond between, like, parent and child that I think I just greatly appreciate. I like to see it in fiction because it's so rare. Usually, especially, I was about to say in manga media, but no, in media in general, usually parents aren't mentioned unless they're for character motivation or they're dead or to die in front of the main character to give our main character motivation. So it's nice to see one that's alive and kicking with another child of their own. And I'm assuming this flower pot that we cut to at the very end is something that Kamo sent his mother, which is nice because he's nice because she's his son, or no, he's her son, which is nice. I love it. It's nice. However, speaking of nice, we cut over to Tokyo Colony number 1 on November 14th. And we see that someone has just awoken. And they're greeted with this. Good morning. Did you sleep well, my destined one? And notably, how can she not sleep on her back? Like, are those wings attached biologically? Like, does the halo phase through doors? Like, if the door was too short and she were to walk through it, would the halo like bounce off the wall? Would it be stuck? Like, I'm not exactly sure. I'm legitimately confused. And notably, she doesn't say my destined one. She just says destined one. What is Megami? What is he? Someone let me know. Because everyone's hyping him up. But I'm hyping up my boy Itadori. Especially now. However, we do see the aftermath of what happened forever ago relative to us. Megami getting taken by the angel at the end of the chapter after his fight with Reggie. We do get to see that Megami does still have some battle damage on him, and he is holding his head, and he's like, here we go again. How long was I up? And notably, he doesn't even really address the angel. He's just like, I'm talking to you, Itadori. And notably, we get to see oh, something is just it's so surreal. I don't know why. Like before I read this chapter, like millions upon millions of questions were going through my head. One, Itadori, why are you here so casually in the bathroom? Like, bro's just been enjoying the amenities, looking out over a skyscraper. Two, I don't think Itadori, like, he literally said to Akari, I'm underage, I can't do that. So, he probably just has, like, juice. That's probably just cranberry juice in a wine glass, but why is he drinking cranberry juice out of a wine glass? Why is bro sweating? Like, there's so many different questions. He's just vibing right now. And I get it, he was waiting for Megami to wake up, and obviously it's not like he could leave the colony or anything. But still... It's such an immaculate vibe that I'm so confused. And then it gets even more confusingly immaculate because Sakaba comes in. What? Yo, you're awake? You must be hungry. I swiped some eats. Like, you can check out the live reaction on Patreon. My biggest thing running through my head was like, what's happening? What is going on here? So many different questions are running through my head. It's all amazing, right? Like, this new group dynamic is going to be amazing and hilarious. Which is why, honestly, I wish, I'm not sure, Uro left. Like, she just straight up dipped. I'm not sure what's up with Ishigori, but I hope Ishigori and Yuta teamed up and just, like, ended up hanging out together. I doubt it. I believe he also went off too. That's what that next cover page implies, that we saw the chapter after that. But still, like, the new squad here was great. Everything's great, which also why I wish Higuruma stayed. Like, but the thing is, we have new dynamics. Like, Kashimo and Akari are just a duo now. They're insane. And I can't wait to see them jump somebody. But, like, that's a duo. And now we have this new quartet of the Angel, Megami, Itadori, and Takaba. And it's just amazing already. And we get to see that Itadori is insanely hyped up for some peanut ice cream. And the angel, like, at first the angel was being all dramatic. She was, like, standing up by the window, perched up. She's like, did you sleep well, my destined one? But the facade immediately breaks. She's like, oh, ice cream, you have chocolate? And we get to see the Tokab was like, oh yeah, of course, the shops were still having electricity and the frozen foods are still good, but why is the power on? And I don't know, once again, it's so oddly casual. Like, it feels like we aren't in the middle of a raging death game right now. Like, the culling games don't very much feel like the culling games right now. It feels like a whole bunch of homies that happen to go on a group trip together and are sharing a room. I don't know. It's nice. It's a good contrast, especially after the end of all these intense fights. But still, it's hilarious. Like, the angel's even like, oh yeah, you can't figure out why, and she's popping open a tube of ice cream and has a spoon in her mouth. Like, it's nice. It's so relaxing and hilarious. And we get to see that she explains that, oh, there haven't been any earthquakes, and cursed spirits don't attack buildings. There might be leakages, but it was decided to supply power from outside for the people left behind. Talk about, you became a player outside, right? Oh, by the way, did you hear anything on the news? And Takaba says, oh, I don't watch the news. And admittedly, like, I'm not the most like caught up, but I still do watch the news. I need to know what's going on in the world. I don't want to just step outside and get caught lacking by something I didn't know about. But it is crazy that Takaba, he's just down a can and it was like, yeah, no, that's not my prerogative. Once again, oddly hilarious. This whole group is so strange. It's so good. And we get to see that the angel critiques him as like, yo, naive adults are just pure evil. You know that, right? Interesting phrasing. Like, I don't know, this is a strange dynamic. And we get to see that Megami just theorizes that, okay, it's probably something Kenjaku did, so it wouldn't interfere with the culling game. He probably worked with the higher-ups, got everyone to keep funneling things, so nothing would slow down or affect the progress. Interesting. I mean, I guess maybe he just doesn't want them to starve. At the same time, wouldn't it be better to push people to their limits by not having stuff there so they could survive long? Because, like, what if people just give up and are just like, you know what, fine, I'm not fighting anymore, this is too high risk, this is too dangerous, we keep destroying buildings, and I want to eat, so I'm just going to go eat. I guess they would fight to, like, I don't know, it just seems strange. However, we do get to see that Megami, before we get serious, he's like, alright. Itadori's here, Tagaba's here, I think we can beat the angel, whatever. I'm just gonna go take a dump, wash up, and then we'll talk. And all of them are just like, oh, okay, fine, you're good. I don't know, this is great. What else is great is that the like button is free, and the subscribe button is free too, so I really appreciate if you hit both of those. They help the channel a lot, they help me out a lot, and help the video a lot. Thank you. But we do get to see that after Megami washes up, he's like, okay, so let me get this straight. Itadori ran into Takaba by pure accident after fighting, and you two teamed up to come find me, and you spotted Kurusu carrying me, and now we're in a hotel room. And the answer is yes. And I just can't get over it. Like, the imagery, like, I get it. Maybe the colony isn't as big as I thought it was. But Itadori must have straight up just walked out. Like, walked out of the courtroom after Higuruma left. Where is Higuruma, by the way? He couldn't have left the barrier, obviously. So he's just wandering around somewhere. But Itadori wandered off, ran out, and just started vibing. Ran into Takaba, who was assumedly also vibing after hanging out with Hazanoki for a while. And they just happened to see Angel carrying. Like, somehow, some way. I don't know. It's hilarious. And I love how Angel isn't even carrying him gracefully or anything like that. She literally just is grabbing on with her fingers and is just trying to fly away, low to the ground. I don't know. So weird. We do get to see that this is really the three idiots. Like, three just absolute idiots. Because Megami's like, do you all know no caution? And they're all just like, well, no. And we see that Megami's like, whatever, thanks for helping me. And they're like, oh, well, you know. And they're all bashful. I don't know, this is such a, like, they are so in sync, it's terrifying. Also frighteningly idiotic. And we get to see that Itadori brings up the fact that, hey, wait a minute, hold on, check this out. Hakari got 100 points. And that's not all. Okotsu got 190. And then we add in your points, Takaba, and Kurusu's. We have, 359. We've got our quota. And, I mean, I guess because they're used to it at this point. But I love how no one questions how Okotsu got 190. No one does. Like, admittedly, both Itadori and Hakari makes sense, right? Because their goals were to go fight the people for high points. They wanted to do that specifically. However, Okotsu didn't go anywhere like that. So in their heads, they are just totally chill with the fact that Okotsu slaughtered, 38 sorcerers? I mean, I get it. It's believable. It's very believable in their heads. Like, yeah, Okotsu is that guy. But the fact that they just casually are cool with the fact that 38 people may have been slaughtered for Okotsu's reign. Wild. But, of course, Megami is unbelievably excited that he can finally help Samuki. It's great. Everything's going well. And we get to see that Megami's like, okay, perfect. Okay, all we need to do is figure out how many points I need to leave the game. But reasonably, can't you make a new rule that could just make it like 1 point? Like, you could spend a point to leave the game? I don't know. But we get to see that Megami is like, hold on a second. These two guys are new. Is it okay if we use your points? And Tagaba's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And we get to see that since Takaba can't actually harm or slaughter people because of his ability, he doesn't find that funny, and all comedian shows have no red, even though he occasionally bleeds, but that's just him. He actually got his points from Hazanoki. And that's nice. I'm assuming Hazanoki didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart. He just did it because, man, I am sick and tired of this dude. Take my points and leave me alone. So that's nice. Shout out to Hazanoki. And now Takaba's like, Alright, just use them however you want. We only got it because of Itadori. And we get to see that Angel has points too. Or Kurusu. Hana Kurusu. And honestly, how did she get points? Who was she fighting? How many points does she have to spare? So wait, let's see. So Akari has 100 points. Hold on. Let's do some quick math. Akari's got 100 points. Kotu got 190. So that's 290 points. 359. So 69. 69 points. I wonder if Gege did that on purpose. But like, with that being the case, I really wonder who Kurusu fought and like beat, and then took the points of. I mean, maybe she just was given points by people, but I'm not sure about that. It seems so strange. I mean, we just glaze over that, and we get to see, and then Megami and Itadori are like, hold on a second, we got a few more questions for you, Kurusu. We're looking for a player called the Angel, and we heard you were in Tokyo Colony number 2. So, are you the Angel? And if so, why'd you help me? And for number 3, why are you in Tokyo Colony number 1? If you're supposed to be in colony number 2. And we see that something answers. And it says, yes, I'm the Angel. You shouldn't ask girls so many questions. And we see Hana looks down at the mouth that spawned on her face. And Megami, Takaba, what I do like is the different reactions here. Like, Hana just looks shocked. Megami looks worried. Takaba looks afraid. And Itadori's like, oh, well, golly gee willikers, my whole flow. She just stole it. She's just like me. For real. And notably, a big difference between this one and Itadori's flow, which makes them different, is one, this Angel seems to have just regular human teeth. Like, they don't have any fangs or anything like that like Sukuna does. And on top of that, they don't spawn an eye. Well, I guess that isn't necessary. You don't always have to spawn an eye. So maybe they do have some sort of eye, but it's just interesting to see them speak through Hana's cheek. And we see that it wasn't necessarily the Angel that saved Megami. It was Hana herself. And we see that the Angel almost snitches like, oh, to answer your question, the reason Hana saved you is because you previously... And then she immediately covers it up, trying to hide that information. I don't know. I'm assuming, like, considering Megami has no direct reaction to Hana, I'm assuming she's not an ex, was what I initially thought on my first reading. I think she may have just been someone Megami saved or helped in the past. And thusly, she feels indebted and may have a crush on him of some sorts. And she doesn't want the Angel to snitch about that, so she covers it up. Interesting. Not exactly sure how I feel about that. I mean, a reason is a reason, so I'll take that. And it does sort of like take away from the whole act she was putting on earlier. Like, good morning, did you sleep well? Destined one. Like, that is Hana speaking, not the Angel. These are two separate entities that happen to be commingling. So I do believe for a fact that there's nothing really all too deep about that. It may just be the case that she wants to call him Destined One to appear mysterious and get his intrigue. But who knows? We'll see. Though I will admit, I do like this characterization of Hana more than the hypothetical, just like, mysterious, transcendent, angel. We kind of get the best of both worlds, because obviously we have the real Angel, which is inside Hana. Pause. And we have the Hana Angel, who's just here, in a person. Nice. We do get to see that while Hana gives us the excuse of like, oh, why not help a guy who's collapsed? And Itadori and Takaba both believe it. Megami doesn't even respond. He's like, okay. Questions for later. And just keeps it stored up and doesn't say anything. And we see that the Angel immediately assumes like, you must know my curse technique if you were looking for me. And it is interesting, right? We see that the mouth just respawned on Hana's hand, though it isn't going to sneak or say anything else per Hana's request, assumedly. We get to see that the Angel explains, like, yes, I negate curse techniques. Barrier techniques, including seals, are no exception. So we can go in and out of barriers. And this may also be one of my favorite parts of the entire chapter. What reasoning they have for not being in Tokyo Colony number 2. There are more cursed spirits than players in the Tokyo Colony number 2. Maybe because of the sea. I That's why I came here. I also blame Kashimo. I love the idea that the angel, this divine being, took one look at Kashimo, who for all intents and purposes is just a really strong dude, and was like, no, I can't stay here and fight him. And it makes sense, right? Because the angel can only negate techniques. They cannot negate cursed energy, and thus it's unlikely that they can negate cursed energy traits. So Kashimo could still 100% hit him with a lightning bolt. So I completely understand why they ran. Once again, it's good to see Kashimo just have like a general fear about him. Like a being as assumedly powerful as the angel is like, yeah, I'm not running the ones with this thing. I need to go. What else needs to go is the idea that the like button and subscribe button are, in fact, not free. When they are free, and you should hit both of those because they help the channel a lot, they help me out a lot, and they help the video a lot. Thank you. But we do get to see that apparently Megami's like, okay, I get it. Kashimo's scary and they're more cursed spirits, but if you avoid the night, predicting what cursed spirits will do is way easier. And we see that the angel's real objective is to wipe out all players who've reincarnated, which I assume would be themselves. Like, unless the angel is recent. But no, the angel is supposed to be an ancient sorcerer, right? So, assumedly, the angel would have to end themselves, like kind of the problem that Eren faces in Attack on Titan. Like, I'll slaughter them. I'll get every last one of them. Like in terms of the Titans, like after a while he'd have to get himself too, right? So I don't really know here. That's an interesting prerogative to have in this case, especially considering if you're gonna run from Kashimo, you can't beat Kashimo then. So how are you gonna stop him? He's obviously reincarnated. I don't know how you're going to beat Ishikori, who's also incarnated. How are you even going to catch Uro, who's also incarnated? Like, a lot of these players, like, I can understand Reggie, because we do get to see, like, some of the incarnated players, not all of them, but we see, not even the fact that we see, I don't know exactly how the angel would beat certain people without teaming up with others. If they're, and like, I'm not saying Kashimo's weak or anything, Kashimo's a demon, but, like, I don't see the angel beating any of the top tiers if they specifically ran from Kashimo. And I'd say Ryu's a top tier. I'd say Ryu's a pretty, if not just an extreme high tier, a low top tier. Like, I don't see the angel beating anybody. I don't know. At least anyone relevant. You may be able to stop some weaker incarnated players like a Reggie, but I don't know. It seems weird. Though we do get to see that the angel explains how this possession works. She goes on to say the incarnation works by suppressing the vessel's original owner, whether intentionally or subconsciously. That goes against, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, interestingly enough, that does explain every single question I've ever had about incarnated players and their knowledge. They're likely all subconsciously accessing information that they have. Information that their vessels have. They just don't realize that it's their vessels. Like, I asked, how does Ishigori know about a bakery? How does Kashimo know about a zoo? How does Reggie know or have access to anything of these receipts, like what happened? But it now makes sense because they have access to all of what their previous owners' lives were, both mentally and physically in terms of their body structure and what they own. But now it's just them, so they don't necessarily consider the original person that they once were because they are now fully Reggie, they are now fully Ryu, they are now fully Kashimo. Interesting, very, very interesting. I wonder how Kenjaku picked candidates, because we know Itadori is specifically made to hold Sukuna. That's how Itadori is able to suppress him. Itadori wasn't overwhelmed by Sukuna's consciousness, at least not yet. So with these guys, how come they were? I guess they were weaker willed. Maybe Kenjaku just said, I need some random Joe Smos to reincarnate y'all through. Here you go. Meanwhile, he went out of his way to birth Itadori, so Itadori could be strong enough. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And it makes me wonder, like, what were their cursed objects? Like, if they really, like, Sukuna incarnated into Itadori through his fingers, but, like, what was Reddy's cursed object? A scroll? What was Ryu's cursed object? Not even a cigarette. I don't know what Ryu's cursed object would be. I don't know what would Kajimo's cursed object be. A lightning bolt? So many different questions. However, we do get to see that Gege picked up the Big B book, and the angel says, That goes against my deity's laws, so it's wrong. And Megumi's like, deity? And notably the angel's like, whatever. That's just the name I give to my beliefs. Pay it no mind. And obviously, as a JJK fandom, we are all going to pay it very much mind, because that implies a whole lot. We have to look at the angel's phrasing here very specifically. It goes against deity's laws. Not anything like that. Deities. Which implies that there is one. A supreme one, if you will. And if so, that raises a whole lot of questions. And may even change the ending of this series. And this may be a hint at what Kenjaku is truly going for. Because we still don't exactly get why Kenjaku's so focused on the enhancing, the revolutionizing of cursed energy. But if it were to take down and or fight and or become and or do something to this supposed deity, I don't know. Seems kind of feasible. And the idea, like, admittedly, when I had heard the name Angel, I had taken it as just like, oh, okay, they're a being with a halo and wings, so they're going to call themselves an angel. But now with this context of there being a deity to go with this angel and the idea of what Sukuna ends up being, I wonder. I really wonder. Is K really introducing the Big B book stuff into this? I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it. I'll probably make a whole separate video talking about how I feel about it, because I'm still not sure. I'm still wondering about it. I was hoping to have a solid opinion by the time I sat down to record this, but I still don't have one. So, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very interesting. But, we do get to see that the angel decided that in order to achieve their goal of slaughtering all the incarnated players, they decided to live in symbiosis with Hana. And, once again, can they leave? Like, could Hana hypothetically throw up whatever cursed object she ate to get rid of Angel? Like, after, say hypothetically, Angel's job is complete and all of the cursed players that incarnated are gone. Are they stuck together until Hana passes away, or can Angel just be like, alright, thanks Hana, deuces, and then just leave? I really don't know. Interesting. And we see that Hana's like, okay, thank you, Mr. Symbiosis. Please don't reveal stuff about me. And we see that Megami asks a very important question. Like, wait a minute. Okay, if your goal is to stop all incarnated players, can it return possessed players to their original state? And we see that Angel's answer is something different. Not no, but also not yes. What Angel says here is that it's not impossible, but it's extremely likely they will die because they're cursed, because the cursed object in the body fuse. So it's difficult to strip away one, which is why, again, I really wonder how Hana's gonna survive if Angel ever decides to leave. And we see that this does make sense. It doesn't contradict anything, mainly because Itadori even points out, that's why Sukuna dies if I die. They're infused with each other. They are essentially the same body, the same person, the same soul. It's just that due to weird semantics and stuff like that, Yuji and Sukuna are separated. And we get to see that Megami is apparently about to be disappointed by the angel, because the angel's like, oh, did you want something from me like that? I'm sorry, I can't really help you out with that. I can't do much to help. But we see that Megami's like, no, not necessarily, but there's someone we want to remove from a seal on the prison realm, a special grade cursed object. And notably, I wonder though, I guess some people's brains were just altered. They weren't incarnated. So maybe Samuki didn't have an incarnated person in her. If so, that makes sense. But if she does, she's in trouble because the angel isn't even going to want to help. But we'll see. Megami explains that this prison realm is what they want unsealed. And Zane's like, oh, yeah, I could probably do that. But the thing is, I'm so... Obviously, they can move colonies, right? So they're able to disable barriers. So it's true that their curse technique works. But it's weird that they're saying probably. They aren't confident. Which makes me wonder, how much of this is truth and how much of this should we nickel and dime? Like, how much should we take with a grain of salt? how many grains of salt do I need for this? I don't know. It seems a little bit shady. I can probably do that. It's interesting. We do get to see, though, Megami and Itadori like, yes, we can do this. But obviously, Megami's like, okay, this is going well. Now we can bring back Gojo Sensei too, but this is a shonen manga. Everything's moving a bit too smoothly. Something is gonna happen. Ah, I'm being possessed. Pencil possessed me to tell you that the like button is free, and so is the subscribe button. Also, you can check out the live reactions of this very review and chapter on his Patreon. He also has a TikTok where he posts daily content. Whoa, Megami, are you alright? Yeah. I just got possessed. I felt like I was speaking to someone else. We didn't say anything. Alright, back to normal. Oh, well, that's good. But before I help you with anything, I need your cooperation. Then I'll remove the seal. And obviously the angel's like, well, okay. Well, no, not the angel, but Megami's like, sure. But there's no way you want us to slaughter every incarnated player, right? Because some of those may be physically impossible, and that's against our morals. But we get to see that the angel's like, no. Chill out. I'm not that greedy. There's one I specifically want to butcher. Interesting, butcher is the word. Like, they seem to take so much pleasure in it. Like, they have a smile for a hand. But we get to see that I wish there's so many things that the fan translations do more hype and better than the official translations. Because the angel says the disgraced one. I think the fallen was a much cooler name, but whatever. You get to see the disgraced one. I promise that if we slaughter that player, I won't hesitate to help you. And we see that Itadori suddenly flashes inward. And notably, this seems completely out of his control. But we see we are back inside Malevolent Shrine. And Itadori asks, well, what am I doing here? What do you want? And we find out that just seeing Sukuna's face irritates him. And we see that Sukuna laughs and is like, whatever. Before you reveal anything, I should tell you something. And Itadori is questioned. I'm the disgraced one. So, Sukuna is a fallen angel that turned into a demon. Yeah, get your references. Make it. You know I'm not going to say the name. But you know what that reminds me of. And with that being the case, the chapter ends. Notably, this has huge ramifications and explains and raises many more questions. But we're going to talk about that at a later time. However, this chapter was very, very good. It had a whole ton of stuff in it. It cleanly wrapped up the whole naoya fight with Maki and I was about to call him Choso. Maki and Noritoshi, which is great. We do cut over. We get to see Megami's alright. We get the explanation of what happened. We get a new squad. We get a new team. All that is great. And we get the Angel's request. Notably, I don't think, me personally, I'll definitely talk about like choosing Itadori over Gojo. That's obviously a topic that's been running rampant ever since this chapter showed up. But personally, if I had to offer a solution that doesn't require the Angel's help, wait until Yuta arrives and attack the Angel. Because the Angel's going to be forced to use their curse technique to save themselves. And then Yuta copies said curse technique, and then Yuta frees Gojo. I don't know. I feel like it isn't that complicated, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like. Oh, well. This is a 10 out of 10 chapter to me, but please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, I do have a notification bell that you can hit down below, which will allow you to not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. And also with that, I do have a Patreon down below. You can wait for us though as $1 a month. You can exclusive videos, early content, and more. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Daigo the Pencil, writing off.